Elon Musk just made an unexpected commitment, and this is actually related to Tesla stock as well. Many have offered rich incentives for X, formerly known as Twitter, to move its headquarters out of San Francisco. Moreover, the city is in a doom spiral with one company after another leaving. Therefore, they expect X will move too. We will not, says Elon Musk. You only know who your real friends are when the chips are down. San Francisco, beautiful San Francisco. Though others forsake you, we will always be your friend. Wow. So many people expected Elon to move Twitter's headquarters to some other place because, for example, Elon has already done that with Tesla. He moved the headquarters to Austin, Texas. So you would naturally expect Elon to do a similar thing with Twitter as well eventually. But at this point, it is pretty clear it is not going to happen, and this is how it is related to Tesla stock. Elon is not scared of regulation, it appears to me, and some people don't like the thought of Tesla building something in France, for example. But after seeing this tweet, I think the chances of Elon Musk actually building something in France for Tesla is a bit higher. I'm not saying it's higher by a lot, just by a little bit. Elon basically just looks at where are the best people for the job, and then he just goes there, it would appear to me. San Francisco is filled with software engineers, and of course, Twitter needs a lot of these. But then at the same time, many think that San Francisco is too much on one side politically, and therefore it would make a lot of sense for X or Twitter to move to some other place that's more neutral, maybe like Florida, let's say, or a city like Austin, which is liberal, but it is surrounded by the right around it. Mazda just killed off its EV after selling just 66 cars. I am actually surprised that they sold even a single one, because that vehicle only had 100 miles of range. This will be great news for those Tesla stock investors that also wanted to invest in Twitter. X/Twitter will have liquidity events similar to SpaceX. Investors can buy stock in the company from employees who have had their stock vested. The first offering could be this fall. As new details emerge, I will keep you all posted. Here's a very interesting comparison between Ford and Tesla. Ford recently sold 34,000 EVs in a quarter, and they lost $32,000 per vehicle, basically. When Tesla sold 34,000 EVs in a quarter about 5 years ago, Tesla only lost $17,000 per vehicle sold. And then Tesla became profitable quickly after that. Also, Tesla's margins back then were relatively better compared to Ford's now. And supposedly it should actually be a little bit easier now to make EVs, but seems like even now they can't make it work. You have the whole supply chain sort of already built out. 5 years ago, it wasn't where it is today. Ford is fighting an uphill battle here against Tesla. But unlike some other automakers, at least Ford is actually, I think, generally sort of trying. Ford was just spotted benchmarking a Tesla Model X. And here's a pretty nice breakdown of Tesla's Q2 results. Pause if you like. This is a pretty good segment from Hallmark's catalog YouTube channel. Don't mind the Bud Light right here. Full self-driving is going, and it's going just fine. It's a bit jerky there, but it was just fine. And you have so many people over here. There is no way FSD is going to handle this just fine, right? Well, if you thought that, you would have been so wrong. This makes me want to buy a lot more Tesla stock.
And a Tesla takeover is happening at the Madonna Inn this weekend. This is the third year of Tesla takeover, and they estimate about 2,300 attendees this year, with last year having 1,300.
Gary Black and Ross Gerber also spoke at the event, and Gary Black dropped a very strong argument to buy a lot more Tesla stock. Take a listen.
So what people have gotten accustomed to doing is saying, okay, how quickly is Tesla going to grow looking forward, not the past? And if EV adoption, which was about 10% last year, can get up to about 60% globally by 2030, that's 30% all by itself. That's before you think about any new product introductions, any kind of share gains that they get. Just EV adoption going from 10 to 60 gets you 30% growth. There is not a mega cap company out there that's growing their units at 30% per year.
That's one of the strongest arguments for investing into Tesla stock that I have heard from Gary Black. You basically do nothing and you still grow 30% per year? This is unheard of. Tesla is guiding for 1.8 million deliveries for this year roughly. So if we assume that's going to be the case and we multiply that by 30%, in 2024 we will deliver this many, in 25 this many, in 26 this many, 27, 28, 29, and 2030 we got over 10 million, a little bit over 11 million vehicles. That, I think, is still relatively conservative.
And so when people think about Tesla that I talk to, they always think about, okay, it's trading at 50 times, but it's growing at least 35% a year because they got Cybertruck coming, they got the $25,000 to $30,000 vehicle coming. There will be a Cybertruck too, right? They're going to get Cybertruck out there. It'll probably do 350 to 400,000 units a year. The street's looking for 150. So that's a huge delta. But then you're going to get a Cybertruck 2 at some point, which is going to be smaller and probably cheaper, and then it'll give it even some more legs. So you got another franchise coming. And so when you think about Tesla, you always got to think about, yeah, it's trading at a higher multiple than Ford and GM, but it's got much higher growth, and that's why most people think of it as a tech company today, not a car company.
There are 1,943,876 reservations for Tesla's Cybertruck. The total reservations for Tesla's Cybertruck as of late July 2023 are more than the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 best-selling pickup trucks in the United States combined.
Do you think that this time Wall Street has learned from its past mistakes where Wall Street grossly underestimated Tesla's potential when Tesla launched new products? Do you think that Wall Street this time learned its lesson, and this time maybe they will actually be a little bit more bullish on Tesla's new product, in this case, the Cybertruck? I don't think so. I think Gary is going to be a lot closer to being right than all of Wall Street, which on average thinks that Tesla will only deliver 150,000 Cybertrucks per year. That's a Wall Street consensus. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. And that's a Tesla stock buying opportunity for us Tesla stock investors.
For Tesla investors, people ask me this all the time, and I'm like, this is not a think about it stock. You just own it. There's no reason to think about it. It's like Apple, Google, these are core holdings that we own, and it's like Tesla's now in that club, and I think it's an amazing accomplishment.
I think what Ross is trying to say here is that Tesla has gotten so big and it's growing so consistently that you have to own at least some Tesla stock if you have a diversified stock portfolio. It's a little bit like owning an index. You don't really think about what the companies are in the index, you just buy the index. But because Tesla stock is the only stock that I own in my stock portfolio, I actually think a lot about Tesla because I want to make sure that Tesla is doing just fine. But if Tesla stock is less than 10% of your stock portfolio, then I think Ross has a pretty good point here.
But Ross brings up a good point. Investors do think of Tesla today, at least the ones I talk to, as a tech company. Nobody that I talk to thinks of it as a car company. Because if you think about Ford and GM, they trade at 6 to 7 PEs. Tesla, if you use next year's earnings, it's trading about 50 times.
Well, it's still pretty easy to find people that think of Tesla as a car company. I'm not going to point fingers because I'm just going to show their tip ranks profiles to you. And even a somewhat credible analyst, when we look at his tip ranks ranking, thinks of Tesla as a car company. Well, good thing is, if you follow his advice, you would have bought some Tesla stock back in 2019 and you would have sold Tesla stock very quickly, and then you would have just held Tesla stock. But I guess if you sold all of your Tesla stock and then you just held that existing position, you would still have 0 Tesla shares in your account, which is exactly how you can be right 62% of the time in terms of where Tesla stock is going. And Craig right now has a Tesla stock price target of $85, by the way, for the next 12 months. But his average return per rating has been about minus 60%, which is pretty close to Gordon Johnson's minus 71%.
And the third thing, and people think I'm more skeptical about this, I'm really not, is FSD at some point will reach level 4 autonomy, and that technology advance will sell more Teslas. Even if you don't believe that there's ever going to be a robo-taxi network or if you don't believe that OEMs are going to license, the fact that they'll be able to have a car that literally drives itself will sell more Teslas. And those three things are the things that everybody's going to talk about for the next 12 months on Wall Street, and it's going to cause the bears on Tesla to look stupid again, just like they did in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah, it was also, yeah. I like that. You got to.
You know, every single quarter and now maybe even every single month, it sounds to me like Gary Black is becoming a lot more bullish about Tesla's full self-driving, and Gary is an institutional investor, so that means quite a bit for him to actually be bullish on Tesla's full self-driving. I really carefully listened to what Gary just said, and it's making me think that he's a bit more bullish. He said, even if you don't believe that Tesla will have robotaxis, which is sort of almost implying that he thinks Tesla will have robotaxis. And before, Gary has made it very clear multiple times that he only models FSD as something that helps you have a more comfortable drive and that he assigns it zero value. But it sounds to me that this position is about to change. Maybe not immediately, but I think we are certainly going towards that direction. And if Gary is thinking that, you know that some institutions as well are maybe starting to have some of these thoughts. Maybe they are not really thinking about it seriously, but they are starting to hear about it more, and maybe they are not that completely opposed to it anymore. And that is bullish for Tesla stock in the long term. And YouTube says you should watch this video next, but if you haven't finished watching this Elon Musk interview, watch this one first. My name is Matt Posius. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.